we have in Austria, Ben Kellman. In England, John Anderson. France, Matthew Crill. Germany, we have Michael DeMichellie. Italy, we have Dave Roberts. Russia, we have Kirk Vaughn. And in Turkey, we have Nicolas Sahuguet. Another really fun board. Good group of players. Let's go ahead and get quickly to the moves. We went a little long on the last segment. And let's start in spring of 1901. Doug, you are on the clock.
All right. So my theme in this game and I'll flag this when it gets here, is if you're Germany, you got to commit, especially in a time limited game. And I think that has a lot of impact on what happens over the course of this game. That said, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. This was an exciting game to watch. So for me in 01, the instant flag is there's no bounce in the Black Sea. We're going to Smyrna. Turkey's going after Russia. That's kind of, that's always good to see. We've got the England going to the Channel. But I can just give you guys some cliff notes. We don't even need to go to follow 2. He instead, sends support to get to Belgium instead. So I kind of want to just quickly go, here into 02. We've got no love in the West. If you kind of like leave the moves up for a second here in the spring of 02, we got no real love in the West. France is moving north. They did not enjoy the fact that England went to the Channel. That's pretty clear from that. Germany is doing some maneuvering. Maybe we have an FG here. It's hard to see. And then let's skip ahead to winter of 02. And for me, when I'm looking at what's kind of happening here with this poll, I'm looking at, we've got an heir. We've got Austria, Italy, and Russia coming in to take down Turkey. So that's, the taking of Trieste and all of that seems like it may very well have been planned here. Now, this is the big reveal here in into spring and fall of 03 for me, which is we've got France continuing to push up north, Russia swinging down south. But take a look at what Italy is doing here. You've got going to the Tyrrhenian Sea. That's interesting. We've got a bounce in Tyrolia. Let's look at the fall. France completely switches direction here and moves south. That's, I don't know if Matthew sniffed this out from Dave or where this came from, but this was a really critical moment in this game. EFG made nice, which is important. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to fall of 04. This is the next big break point in this game. Trying to summarize this game in 3 minutes is really hard because there was a lot of stuff happening here. This is where England stabs Germany for Denmark, and Austria just executes a mammoth stab here on Russia. So, that was like, wow, that was huge. So simultaneously taking down Turkey. And that's really, at this point, the next interesting thing is after this stab by England, Germany helps Austria for the rest of the game. So England and France have to work together, and we could skip ahead to fall of 06 to see that. That one dot stab was really costly for EF because now Austria has like tons and tons of room to grow. Italy and Austria, as we go forward into spring of 08, there's not much to see here other than Austria just continuing to boom, boom, boom. But in spring of 08, we've got some dot swapping between Italy and Austria. There's a lot of good tactical play, both by Dave and Matthew in the south over taking Marseille and going back and forth. A valiant defense by England and France. And finally, it was called for Austria with just a mammoth result of 12 in a time-limited game of 07, just really driven forward by that mammoth stab. And if you want to rewind back to the turn, there's a turn in 03 or 04 where Germany just holds in place and rotates to make a move against, it's right here, spring of 03, because they're going to make a move against England. But like, you can't hold in place for an entire turn. So it's in there. I don't remember which season it was. But you can't just like rotate your units like that. You really need to just figure out how you're going to do that, because in a time limited game, that's just it's too dangerous to do that. So yeah, that's my summary. But obviously the Austrian stab just was mammoth and drove this game forward in a big way. Nicely executed.
Can we go back to that thing? I don't remember which year it was, because I actually have some post-game comments from the Russian player about this.
Yeah, fall of 04 is when the stab is executed.
So this is really interesting, because we actually heard a little bit from the Russian player on this turn that Russia was having some conversations with Italy and saying, hey, I'm a little bit worried about this. And the Italian said, no, I've played with Ben many times before. He doesn't play like that. He's stuck with us. He's not going to stab you. Don't worry about it. And apparently Italy was also kind of surprised, as Russia was, when this actually happened. And the other interesting thing, Doug, that you pointed out at this turn was that England also stabbed Germany for Denmark here. And according to the Russian player, this also had a big impact on the rest of the game, because this really put Germany in a mood for vengeance, and led to Germany really working with the Austrian and helping the Austrian top the board and just throwing everything to hurt England for the rest of the game.
You know, we talked about John and his abilities, and we've seen him in other tournaments. He's a great player. This is one time where his very smooth talking diplomacy did not work out for him, clearly, because he was not able to repair that relationship.
Well, I definitely think that's the best stab we've seen so far. Very, very impressive there, and another really fun game.